tea time on true crime. Mugs up, pull that seat right out. You need to tune in, lean in close. We're about to sort this out. So much ish to puzzle through. Whispers, rumors, tangled doubt. Come with me, we'll walk it back till every truth steps out. Crimes and lies and alibis. Spill the story, sip that hit. Come have tea with me tonight. We'll find the cracks in every print. Crimes and lies and alibis. Pour it slow, let's chase that scent. Come have tea with me, alright. You get a hint, you get a hint, oh yeah. You get a hint. Oh yeah. Timeline scribbled on a napkin. Name circling like steam. Motive hiding in the margins. Right between the scenes. Every side has got a secret. Every secret leaves a trace. Stay a while, we'll piece it together. Case by case by case. Crimes and lies and alibis. Spill the story, sip that hit. Come have tea with me tonight. We'll find the cracks in every print. Crimes and lies and alibis. Pour slow, let's chase that scent. Come have tea with me, alright. You get a hint, you get a hint.
Hello, welcome back. It's been a spell. Yes, I'm late. Do you expect anything less from me? It is 7:38 p.m., so I'm only 8 minutes late. It's June the 20th, and we got a lot to cover today. I see my wifey's in the house and a couple of my husbands. Hello, good to see you all. Yeah, I've got a lot packed in for today. So I'm going to say my hellos. I'm going to say my thank yous, and I'm going to show a really special picture from Cheryl, and then we're going to get into it. So welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the shenanigans. And I'm going to try to keep this as drama-free as possible today. However, it seems that drama finds me wherever I go. So we'll see how well it works. Tambourine was first in the house. Good to see you. Paris of the Prairie showing some Mad Dog love. I'm going to show Mad Dog some love today as well, and all of the RCMP, because I know they're working hard and I know what kind of shit they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So my hat's off to them for sure. Handmaiden of God, thank you for being here. You will be in my thank you club momentarily. Sheila, good to see you. Hope some good news. Well, I've got some good news for myself personally. And I'm sure there's, yeah. Share Cares, good to see you. Mr. Hemi, I missed you, bud. Where have you been? Oh, I know where you've been. Nay, I said to everyone, howdy drum grid, good to see you. Thanks for being here, and you will be in my thank you club as well, because I know that anyone who supports me in any way gets shit on pretty hardcore. So I appreciate everyone's support despite the backlash you get. Nurse 2112, I'm hoping you won't have to check my pulse tonight. Gaspé Gal, yes, glad you're here to catch a live too. 007 Star Child, good to see you. Long time no see. Odessa, how's it going, girlfriend? Glad you're here. It's been a while. Yeah, that will be me. I'm gonna probably have to take a couple of breaks. Ariel Sasha, good to see you as well. My wifey Cheryl, good to see you. Can't wait to see you again. Jennifer, good to see you. Leslie Donovan, hello. Emerald Jane. Sherry Lee Thomas is saying sup from New Brunswick, not from Barbados anymore, huh? Rena Gale, good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Bonnie Randall, good to see you. You're editing today. Good luck with your editing. Sky Painter Boomy Tunes, good to see you. Just Janie, good to see you. All right, Stella, Ron Halewale, yo, sup? Good to see you. All right. So the first thing I am going to do is Harvey Mackenzie. Hi, to you too. All right. So first thing, thank you, ExploreCore, for your donation on the Buy Me a Coffee app. I saw it the other day, and I don't check it very often. So thank you for that. Thank you, Sarcasm Unlimited, for your kind email. I appreciate it. Thank you to Bob. You know who you are. Thank you to Mr. DB at the RCMP. I respect you immensely, and I know what kind of job you have to do, and I don't know how you do it, but keep going and solve this case. Special thank you to Staff Sergeant Mad Dog McCammon. I look forward to my free behavioral analysis. True story. Thank you to my wife, Cheryl, because she offers me more support than I offer her. And a lot of people don't seem to realize how much of an emotional toll that this case takes on family members, friends, and supporters of family members involved in this case. So special thank you to Cheryl for always being up for a chat and being a shoulder for me and me being a shoulder for you. A special thank you to my city friend, who shall not be named, but for always playing devil's advocate with me and our special little coffee dates. I appreciate them very much. Thank you to T. You know who you are and your special boy in Ontario. Always appreciate your support and kind words. Thank you to Damien for teaching me how to fly a drone. I mean, it's not much involved for me. I just stand and hold a controller, but also keeping me grounded and logical and all the other things that you do. And thank you to my kids, which are not last and certainly not least. They are the most important things to me, and they support what I do, and they wear their Jack and Lilly bracelets proudly. So thank you to them very much for having the patience with me while I go off and search and do the things I do. So, as my thumbnail says in the description, Jack and Lilly Sullivan are still missing, and the misinformation online and the online bullying of family members, friends, and supporters is at max level. There's many unsolved cases in Nova Scotia, many in Pictou County. Some cases have received little to no coverage, which we're going to do a little once over today. One of them is on Patrick Paddy Weymouth Paddon, who went missing in 1969, a 17-year-old on a hunting trip with his family, and nothing has been recovered since. And he went missing in the same location as where Kevin Martin was found, a missing boy that was found murdered in Burnside. We will touch on that as well. So yes, those cases haven't received much coverage, but what do they all have in common? And that's rumors, speculation, and a whole lot of lies. And what kind of damage does this do to the people involved in the case and surrounding the case? And what does it do to the case with speculation and lies being rife in the Jack and Lilly case? I imagine that this is having a huge impact on the RCMP officers and sifting through the mountain of bullshit that they have to deal with. Obviously, it takes a massive toll on the family. And we're going to touch on why witness statements are unreliable. The RCMP themselves have said they don't rely on witness testimony alone because memories are easily mistaken. Add in trauma and stressful situations, the memory is not a reliable source of information, period. And yeah, I can't believe that we've reached the point where facts don't seem to matter and it's all about engagement, clicks, views, and likes and shares. And I don't care if you like this. I don't care if you share it. I'm glad you're all here watching it. But those of you who followed me from the beginning know that that's not what it's about for me. So I just want to know where Jack and Lilly are and what happened to them. And yeah, let's compare some cases and discuss searches and what to expect from the RCMP. So let me go back to the comments section. All right. All right. Hi, Mama Angie. Good to see you. Thank you, Paris. I appreciate your kind words. I've missed you too, Sherry. Kelly Biller McNeil, yo! Long time no speak. I hope you're doing well as well. Sorry, Bermuda, not Bahamas. Come on, pretty mamas. Nay, nay indeed. All right. First things first, I am going to bring up a picture that was sent to me by Cheryl. Yes, husband, I will. Don't worry. All right, image file. Desktop and live. All right. So this was sent to me by Cheryl. This is what her and Malaya have been working on. This is a garden for Jack and Lilly. And, you know, it's something for them to work on in a positive manner. You can see they painted a nice, beautiful bench, and they've got a sunflower and some beautiful flowers there. And I look forward to seeing it. I had another picture, but this one includes all the planting and mulch and stuff that they've done in the last few days. And I know that they've both been sweating in this Nova Scotia heat to get that up and looking pretty. And it does look beautiful. Good job, guys. Let me just see if there's anything else. Have fun with your friends, husband. I look forward to seeing you next weekend. Yeah, it is beautiful. If Cheryl wants to discuss where it is, I will leave that to her. But I'm not going to say where the location is unless she wants it seen. We all know she's got enough to deal with. So, yeah. Today we are going to go over, there you go, Cheryl has said. And it's a place where the children played many times. And it's somewhere for them to go and reflect on Lilly and Jack and send out some positive thoughts to the universe that the RCMP will wrap this up shortly and that justice will be served for Jack and Lilly and the answers will be found so people can have a small amount of closure. And I use that word very loosely, but not knowing is very difficult for everyone. Yeah. Yes. Let me go to my notes here. Okay, so a couple of the cases I wanted to touch on because these are cases that haven't got a lot of coverage. Nova Inquest and I have touched on both of these other cases because they were out of Pictou County. They were very similar in location off the 289. Kevin Martin, some of you will be familiar with because I have discussed it a couple of times. And it's a case that's really bothered me because he was just shy of 14 when he went missing out of Stellarton. I'm going to bring up a picture of him and I will bring up this garden here shortly. Give me a second. So this is Kevin Martin. So he went missing from Stellarton. Um, and there was a lot of speculation around his case. There were several suspects. One was his stepdad, who's now passed away. There was also a teacher in the area that was, his name was Mr. Skidmore, and he had been subsequently charged with child sex offenses and was basically exchanging rugs for sex favors from young boys in the area, and he lived in the area. And there was also speculation that there was older boys involved in his disappearance and murder. Now he was found. The RCMP or the local police had long suspected that he had run away. There was troubles at home, and the day that he went missing, he had just been picked up from running off to his friend's house in Thorburn. So, um, but that's not something that's uncommon for teenagers to run off and go to their friend's house. So it's not something that I consider necessarily alarm bells, but possibly that there was some other things going on at home. But um, I understand that the mom is slightly reluctant to come forward and discuss the case too much. But I, along with Nova, believe that it's been long enough. He was found in 2002 in a shallow grave off the 289 down Pembroke Road by a logging company. They found his sneaker first, and the police were called. And by all accounts, it was a very um, violent attack that led to his death. And someone who would have been filled with rage, and they would have needed assistance to, according to the police, to move him from where he went missing from, which was the Stellarton area, to that area, which was approximately, I'm going to say, 25 kilometers south from Stellarton. I'm going to show you some pictures of the area because we were out kind of pre-scouting an area, which happens to be where Paddy, Patrick Weymouth Paddon went missing from. He was 17-year-old boy who was out hunting with his father and uncle in November of 1969. And he was an avid hunter, knew the area very well, and was last seen on Pembroke Road heading in the opposite direction of where his uncle and father were. There was a witness that placed him in the area of Iron Gate. We'll read the article, Iron Gate and Pembroke Road, a husband and wife, but nothing's been found of his either. So he was traveling with a rifle, compass, a knife. He had flares, 2 flares in a metal box, and he was dressed fully for the weather with a red hunting coat that was reversible, waterproof pants, boots. And we were having this discussion that the quality of gear was actually probably a lot better than it was now because everything was fabricated in North America with quality products. So that being said, nothing to date has been found relating to Paddy. When I was in that area, I found it extremely unnerving because while we were out there, there was not a single vehicle that came down that road for over 3 hours. It's a very remote location. And, you know, which was a little bit sad in some ways because obviously that area is used by hunters. There was no shortage of shotgun shells that I found and burn pits, etc. So people know about that area. People know it's a good place to make someone disappear. And someone would have had to have known to bring Kevin Martin there, and would have known that it would have been a very long time before someone were to find him. And in fact, it was. But that was in 2002. We are now 2026. It's been 34 years, and it's time for people to start putting things on the table, to start coming out of the shadows and saying what you know. So the main suspects were Mr. Skidmore, the stepdad who was in a cast at the time and who's now passed, and a group of older boys. So what I implore those of Stellarton and Pictou County to do is, if you happen to know who Kevin was speaking with, who Kevin was hanging around with, who these older boys might be, does it have anything to do with Carl Skidmore? Was he ever seen at that property? And what, not necessarily rumors and speculation, but what's word on the street? It's never too late to give family closure, to give his mom and they bring justice to those who had something to do with his murder. So the number along the bottom here is the Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit. You can give them a call. They are actually, this case, Kevin Martin's case, like many others, is part of the Unsolved Scotia Major Unsolved Crimes Reward Program. So it would be really nice to see some of these cases solved and closed. It's been a long time coming, and there is just not enough cases out there that have solved. We have touched on many of them. Troy Cook, Zach Kellogg, Zach Lefebvre, Kevin Martin, who at least was found. You know, I could go Jack and Lilly, obviously. There's so many cases that have not been solved, and it's really time to start getting people to speak out and break the code of silence that seems to be permeating the air. So Kevin Martin, that is his lovely, cute little face. And yes, another young life gone too soon. And I can't imagine what could drive someone to take the life of a child. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Hi, everyone coming in. Dylan Ayler is a really difficult case, and I got to be careful when I discuss this case because it is considered technically a closed case. However, it is a very odd situation, and it does have a lot of resemblance to Jack and Lilly Sullivan's case, where it was stated that he had wandered off. Thank you, Support Organ Donation, for becoming a new member. I appreciate you. Welcome to the club. I have a lot of questions about Dylan's case too, Brian. Obviously, I also did a live on Dylan, and I found it unlikely and unusual, the timing that was stated, that his grandmother had turned around for 18 seconds to clip up the dog and he disappeared. Now, the Truro City Police handled that case, and after his boots were found, it was determined that he fell into the brook and was swept out into the Bay of Fundy. So it's very difficult to elaborate on that if that's what the RCMP or the Truro police have sort of stated was the case. Although we have, I did do some mapping and some measurements of how long it would have taken a boy of his size to get from A to B without being seen by all the houses on the way there. And I have questions just like everyone else, Brian. And there is a lot of weird stories going on, but um, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I've heard the stories of, oh, that's when the drug collector comes in May, and that's why all these kids go missing. And I just think it's a load of horse shit, pun intended. Um, Drug dealers don't want children. I mean, they don't. It would take you 3 minutes to get to the river. Yeah, but you've got long legs, right? You've got long legs. A 3-year-old has only little ditty legs that walk not as fast with a larger, long stride like you, right? So, and it was a pretty good area as well. Dylan's was where he was. So different than Jack and Lilly. But nonetheless, there was enough people around, I believe, in Lansdowne Station that something should have been seen. And what the claims that have been said to have been seen, I'm not quite convinced on. And we will talk about the accuracy of witness statements as we go forward. So, yeah. Let's go on to Patty. So this is the young man, Patty. The truth will come out. It always does. And I look forward to that day, Cheryl, as you know. And I suspect there'll be a lot of people that are not feeling too comfortable in their own skin when it does. So this is Patrick Weymouth Paddon, who was 17 when he went missing. As I mentioned, he was out on a hunting trip with his uncle and his father in an area that was well known to him. And he was fully prepared. He had a rifle, he had flares, he had a compass, he had a knife, he could start a fire. You know, he was pretty much a Boy Scout that was prepared. So it is unusual that nothing has been found. There was an extensive search done at the time that he went missing. And in fact, there was many RCMP, ground search and rescue, military, etc., that came out for the search. So I'm going to bring up this article and read that. And you guys can tell me what you kind of think of the case. And I'll also go through some pictures that I took while in the area, because when you cover cases like Kevin's, like Jack and Lily's, like Dylan's, like Patty's, when you are actually in the area and are looking where these people were last seen, it is a very different feeling than just seeing pictures online or video online. And it gives you a real sense of what these children's lives were like, what their last moments before disappearing were like, what could have or could not have been seen, for example. So I'm going to bring up this article. Okay. Tambourine, we are all waiting for that day. Most of us, most of our lives have been on hold since this all started. It has affected so many of us emotionally. Every time I show hubby something, I bawl my eyes out. It is a very difficult case, Jack and Lily's case in particular. It's very raw for everyone, and I suspect that it's caused an immense amount of mental anguish for not just Jack and Lily's immediate family and friends and teachers and community, but parents, RCMP, anyone with an ounce of empathy that can um, appreciate this scenario. It's so difficult, especially as being in Nova Scotia, being a parent, and having 2 children just disappear off the face of the earth. As, Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon, AKA Mad Dog, and for anyone who seems to criticize that nickname, I have it on good authority that he likes it. So stick that in your mouth pipe and smoke it. Um, he said it was a fundamental wrong, that this case is a fundamental wrong. This is not something that should happen to 2 children anywhere, but let alone 2 children that I can say um, had a few odds stacked against them. And there's a reason why RCMP rotate out officers and detectives that work on the case, because one, they can get tunnel vision, but two, it's extremely emotionally taxing to have to listen to witness accounts, speculate on theories, worst case scenario thoughts. And I'm just a content creator who's had the wonderful opportunity to get to know Jack and Lily's friends and family members, to get insight on what the children were like. And it does take an emotional toll. And, many of us have had to take breaks and take step backs for various reasons, for emotional reasons, for bullying reasons, for all sorts of reasons. And I've had to take a step back multiple times for multiple reasons. Um, and Drone Grid has said the same thing. Yeah. And I would advise anyone who feels like they are affected by this case um, to actually like reach out to a healthy community for support, because this kind of immersement in a case can create post-traumatic stress symptoms, because you are dealing with missing children, um, theories that they are not alive, theories that they could have been abducted, theories, that are very dark. And it's a very, it's just a very emotional thing. And I think that if you are affected by this case, that you shouldn't be afraid to speak to other people about how it's affecting you, and take breaks when needed and take steps away when you need to. And above all, don't bully people for different opinions, and let the RCMP do their job. Don't feed into the frenzy. Um, I've received a bit of criticism for doing my social experiment, but that's what it was. It was a social experiment. I wanted to see how long it takes for misinformation to fly around the true crime community, and it doesn't take long. It just takes one person to put it out there, and then it's passed around all the channels, on the Facebook pages, and it's treated like gospel. And 9.9 times out of 10, it is not true. So I know Justin had to address that in his own live yesterday. So, yeah. Hey, Brandy, good to see you. Janice Potty, I'm glad that the misunderstanding has been sorted out, and I hope you can appreciate that where my loyalties lie. All right. Those of us who already deal with PTSD get very triggered and the symptoms get exacerbated. Absolutely. Don't I know it? I have complex PTSD from multiple traumatic events, and everything about this case triggers me immensely. Not only just the facts of the case, but all the surrounding um, drama and behavior that surrounds it. It can be very difficult. Yeah, you saw someone asking if I was in jail, and I thought why people would make that up. Yeah, I started that rumor, Gaspé Gal. I wanted to see how long it would take for people to start talking about it. And it was a social experiment because, like I said, there are many, many accounts out there under false names that put out false information. You've seen it in my own chat, which is why I'm very strict. I know I'm strict, and I know people don't like that I'm strict in my chat, but I love my chat members. I always have 99% of the time, I have very good community members in here that have awesome conversation, lots of support, and are not putting out misinformation. I won't stand for putting out misinformation. You know, the RCMP are the ones who are in charge of putting out misinformation or putting out information and discrediting the misinformation. And they hold their cards close to their chest. They're not going to tell us very much because it's an active investigation under the Missing Children's Act. And they are keeping their eye on everyone and everything. So, you know, there will come a time where the people out there that have created the most damage to this case will have to pay a price. And I have my own suspicions that this case, Jack and Lilly Sullivan's disappearance, will create major changes in how social media rules are applied and what the consequences are for online harassment, bullying, misinformation campaigns, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, knowing what kind of information has been put to me by various sources and how unlikely it is to be true, and how much pressure I have had to put that information out there, I can only imagine what the RCMP receive. I honestly, they have received a lot of criticism over this case, but this is the most important case in Canadian history. They don't want to fuck this up. Like, simple as that. They are working very hard behind the scenes. They have multiple organizations working on this, and they're not just sitting there with their thumbs up their asses, as some people think. It is very hard to be patient when two children are missing and people don't know what's going on. I understand that. I am not Jack and Lily's family, but at this point, I feel like they're like my godchildren. And I, like the rest of you, want answers desperately, as you've seen from some of the things I've done, like phone calls, etc. Um, but I do try to stick to the facts, and I won't throw of two missing children. When I get them first, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I wasn't. Am I frozen? Has the sound come back? Hey, Cool J, good to see you. Cool J, I actually 100% agree with this. There is a handful of people that are behind a deliberate campaign that exist. Until I'm given a reason to not believe Malaya, I don't believe she is involved. I don't believe that she's responsible for the disappearance of her children. I'm entitled to that opinion. It is a belief I have. It's not against the law to believe someone. And I would rather err on the side of caution of a mother who's already been through multiple traumas in her life, who was a victim of domestic violence and whose two children are missing. So, you know, I get a lot of flack for it, but that's the way it is. As someone who has also gone through multiple traumas, who was a victim of domestic violence, I can relate to her. I feel like I'm like an older sister to her. And if that makes me a bad person in some people's eyes, then so be it. I feel comfortable with myself. And call me a donkey, call me a horse, call me teabag, call me whatever you want. But I sleep all right at night. So hopefully, yeah, the thing is, because I have multiple windows open as well right now. Um, okay. Yes, as much as social media can be an assistance in the case, with people speaking out, it can also be an incredible hindrance because it leads to a massive amount of leads being sent to RCMP that are, as they have said themselves, not fact-based, right? So if all of their time is spent on following up on non-fact-based tips, then it's taking away from the time they could be spending on actual fact-based tips. So, yeah. Yeah. Donkeys and horses are beautiful. Thank you. Donkeys were good enough for Jesus, just saying. And horses are majestic. Nay. But if that's all you got on me is to call me names, make fun of my appearance, and criticize the fact that I support Cheryl, she supports me, and I support Malaya and Cindy and their family because I've seen what they've been through and how everyone has pointed the finger at her for not speaking. I do not blame her for not speaking at all. In fact, I've told her I don't want her to speak because everything she says will be ripped apart. Yeah. And half the insults I get, I actually love and embrace. So, nay. And me and my sister wife, Cheryl, will continue on in the background, working together towards finding answers for Jack and Lilly. And there have been many people who have tried to disrupt that, who have worked tirelessly to discredit me. And I just want to say thank you to Cheryl for seeing through all the bullshit, because it is never ending. It is never ending. So back to Patty. We will get back to some statement discussions and witness reliability in a moment, because I think that this case is really important, because they get forgotten. They get pushed onto the back burner. Now, it's not necessarily a criminal investigation, but because nothing has happened, I just find it unusual. I find it unusual that in all the time that he's been missing, all the hunters that have been out there, that not one single item has been found. And like I said, the initial search for him was very intensive, by highly skilled individuals, much like with Jack and Lilly. So there's some coincidences there, and you'll see from the pictures that it is eerily similar in location as well. So let me read this article. I'm going to take myself off the screen. One moment. Okay. Hopefully you can all still hear me. All right. So Patrick Weymouth Paddon, 17, November 29th, 1969, Upper Stewiacke, Burnside area, Colchester County, Nova Scotia. Patrick Paddy Paddon has been missing long-term from the Upper Stewiacke, Burnside area of Colchester County, Nova Scotia, Canada. In the early morning hours of November 29th, 1969, the 17-year-old boy Patrick Paddon, his father Bernard, and his uncle Neil left their home in Dartmouth, headed to Burnside area of Colchester County via Upper Stewiacke and Pembroke Road for a day of hunting together before the close of deer season. Patrick, called Paddy by his family, was a grade 11 student at Prince Andrew High School, now Woodlawn High School, and the second oldest of 4 children. Paddy was an experienced hunter and woodsman. In fact, according to his uncle Neil, an Indigenous friend of the family mentored Paddy for 2 or 3 years before their November 1969 hunting trip. When Paddy entered the woods that morning, he was well prepared. He had food, safety flare, a compass, a pocket watch, and of course his rifle and a knife. In the butt of his rifle, he stored matches that he had dipped in wax, ensuring that they would even light when wet. He was dressed warmly. The coat he was wearing was reversible, with one side being water repellent. The trio entered the woods near 2491 Pembroke Road, about 500 yards from the farmhouse of a family friend. Bernard said his last instructions to his son were, "Be careful, and I will see you back at the farm at noon." They often split up so that they could drive deer towards one another. As Paddy walked away, his father called to him, saying, "Don't shoot too many deer." Bernard said he felt relatively secure that Paddy had a good wood sense, and the area where they were hunting was bounded by the Pembroke River, Pembroke Road, and the friend's farmhouse. The trio had 2 rules. Nobody was to cross the road, and 2, nobody was to cross any water. They also had an established meeting time and place, noon at the family friend's farmhouse. So this is a map included in the area. This is Pembroke Road. And this is the area that was searched. And just down here is actually where Kevin Martin was found. According to Bernard, he met Neil in the woods at 11 a.m. Neil told him he had last spoken to Paddy about 9:30 a.m. At 11:30 a.m., Bernard and Neil heard a car horn coming from the direction of the farmhouse where they were to meet. Thinking it was Paddy signaling he had a deer, they walked to the farmhouse, but Paddy was not there. The two sat and ate lunch, waiting for Paddy to arrive at the farmhouse. When Paddy had not shown up by 1:30, Bernard and Neil began to search for him. They drove up Pembroke Road all the way to the highway across to Truro, Stewiacke, and back, and found no sign of Paddy. At 3 p.m., they came across a hunter who told them he had been speaking to Paddy at 2:45, only about 6 miles, 9.7 kilometers up the road from where they were now. I assume this means from where Bernard and Neil met the hunter on Pembroke Road. The hunter estimated Paddy was only 2 miles from Riversdale where he saw him, and Paddy had asked him for the direction of the farm. Full of hope, Bernard and Neil drove towards Riversdale, expecting to see a very tired Paddy walking towards them, but there was no sign of him. They stopped in the area of Iron Gate Road and began firing off rifle shots as a signal for him, but Paddy did not signal back. Bernard and Neil returned to the farmhouse. The owner of the farmhouse called the RCMP in Stewiacke. Bernard and Neil were advised by the police that they should call back if Paddy did not come out of the woods by dark. So Bernard and Neil went back out searching everywhere for Paddy. Bernard called the police back at 7:30 p.m. to tell them Paddy had not shown up at the farmhouse. By this time, it was snowing heavily, and the police advised him there was little that could be done until a search could be organized at daybreak. When interviewed by the Mail Star for an article published on January 19, 1970, Bernard told the reporter that at this point I was too worried about the cold and snow I wasn't too worried about the cold and snow as Paddy was warmly dressed and had plenty of plastic coated matches, a ground sheet which he could use as a tent, a knife, and a 2-star red flare. Besides that, 3 weeks before, we sat at the supper table and went through the whole procedure of what to do if lost in the woods. Bernard and Neil drove along the Pembroke Road until about midnight, blowing the horn and firing off shots. By 1 a.m., 10 inches, 25 centimeters of snow had fallen in the area in total. 12 to 15 inches of snow had fallen overnight. On November 30th, 1969, Constable M.F. Susi arrived on scene and initiated the investigation into Paddy's disappearance. According to the police, at 3 p.m., Redacted stopped a Volkswagen on the Pembroke Road, which was proceeding south, and asked the driver if he had seen a youth walking on the road. This man, who was accompanied by his wife, said that at approximately 10 minutes earlier, he had been talking to a boy fitting Paddon's description. The youth was walking towards Riversdale. He asked for the time, and the boy pulled out a pocket watch and showed him the time to be 2:45. Young Paddon carried a pocket watch. This information put the boy at about 200 yards south of Iron Gate Road, a woods road which runs east of the Pembroke Road at approximately 3 p.m. So I'm going to go through the chats here, see what I've missed, and go through some more pictures. All right. Where do I need to go back to? Holy, you've been chatting up a storm, you guys. Anyone who treats people the way we've been treated clearly has issues of their own. Yes, I concur. Yeah, good, Brandy. I'm glad that you have that. True crime chat bullies consistently score high in the dark triad spectrum of personality traits. Yes, they do. We were having this conversation, weren't we? Mama Angie, in my opinion, every bit of lies and deflection originate with DM and his mother. They are the ones trying the hardest to say, hey, look over there instead of over here. Yeah, I agree a bit there, but I also think that there's been some pretty key characters in the Jack and Lilly case who have really muddied the waters of truth and have pointed the finger at many different people. And there are certain channels out there that, in my opinion, have totally sabotaged the case. You don't blame her either. In other cases, I've read that the family was told as much better not to speak as she was. She was told that. I am proud you were working on this case as well, Drumgrid, because you receive a lot of flack um, for even attempting to support me. Anyone and everyone does. And it's really discouraging because it appears like the people that work the hardest um, on the cases, um, it's all done behind the scenes. There's been so many searches that have been done, not just for Jack and Lilly, but other missing people as well in the area that's never discussed online. You know, there's a lot of things that happen that can't be discussed online, and people aren't looking for recognition, but it would be nice to not actually um, be thrown under the bus for especially the people that put in the most work. Oh, hello, Chip. Good to see you, Woman's Warrior. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate all your kind messages as well. Um, Cheryl, like I've said many times before, just because we don't broadcast what we do to everyone online doesn't mean we're not doing anything. Absolutely. Exactly. If Cheryl hadn't sent me that picture of the bench, no one would have saw it or knew about it. But no, it's not about looking for recognition. It's just about kind of bringing to light all what Jack and Lily mean to everyone. And just because people aren't out there shouting, on social media, it it doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in the background. It doesn't mean that people aren't distraught, emotional, upset, stressed. It affects so many people in ways that people don't realize. It's very easy for people to sit behind a computer screen and antagonize people and berate people and belittle people that are actually trying their best to help in any possible way. So there is so much that goes on that people don't know about. Yep. Yes, I do. You know, I've learned to have to swim with sharks. Protecting the integrity of the case of two missing children should be important to everyone who cares about them. Absolutely. And if there was any integrity in witness statements and such, they wouldn't want them broadcasted online because, as Drone Grid knows, as Cheryl knows, as I know, as Malaya knows, there is so much that we know that we don't talk about for a reason. For a reason. And it's not about, I know this and you don't know that. That's not what I'm trying to say here to everyone watching. It's because this is a case, this is an investigation into two missing children, you know? And some things don't need to be out there. And if it was a credible statement, a witness account, no one would want to put that out there. Why would you want a statement of facts in a case that hasn't even reached the solving point yet to be out there in the public? I don't know. I'm going to bring up some pictures of this area, and I think you will realize what kind of area we're dealing with. So the pictures I'm showing are just pictures I took myself while looking at the area of where Kevin Martin was found, which happened to be the area where PADDYPADDON went missing from as well. And again, it's not far from Lansdowne Station, and it's just unusual how many of these types of disappearances have occurred in such a small area. And I know that Nova's inquest touched on that as well. Um, and, the per capita rate of missing slash murdered people in that community is very high. And it's something that is unusual, in my opinion. So, welcome in, everyone. Um, so I'm going to bring up some pictures and then I'll read the rest of the article. Image file. Okay, so this picture here is Iron Gate Road. So this is one of the last locations that Paddon was seen. And it was a really sort of difficult, ominous area to be in because I happened to notice that there was actually a missing persons poster on that pole, which you can see. And, you know, I like to search. I'm a very nosy person. So I'm usually always have my eyes to the ground. And, you come across a lot of things when you're out in the woods, not to mention the immense amount of black flies and ticks that swarm me at all times. Um, but there was like a lot of bullet casings, like shotgun shells. People had obviously been out there, target shooting and that sort of thing. So it's a known area, but to be out there and not see a vehicle for 3 hours was unusual. It gave a really good indication of how rural and remote this place is. Hey, Shy, good to see you. Thank you as well for all your kind messages, and I hope you are doing well. We all have things that are going on in the background of our lives. We all have things, yet we all come together here um, in positivity for Jack and Lilly. So I appreciate all of you. So let me bring up another picture. So it was Road off Pembroke Road that I walked down for about a kilometer. But it's very reminiscent of Lansdowne area. Just a dirt road, but no properties on this road at all. Nothing but swamp, coyote poo, and bear prints. So yeah, needless to say, I didn't venture too far. But the forest is so dense, so dense. It's so difficult to imagine anyone being in there and why they wouldn't have shot off a flare, and why the rifle didn't go off, you know? I wasn't alone, Ariel Sasha, don't worry. I, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, actually. When I hear strange noises coming from the woods, I go in the opposite direction. And I carry a little pocket knife, so, I'm sure that'll save me. Lord. Like, I don't know how to explain how eerie it was, but this was like a little Blair witch looking thing I saw out there. And it was around this time that I was like, "Ah, I think I'm going to just turn around now." You know? See that thing? Creepy AF. Um, so yeah, I've got some other things I wanted to cover as well. I'm gonna the bears were laughing at my pocket knife. Listen, I would have stabbed it in the throat. I was told, he's like, take the bear spray. I'm like, if a bear comes near me, the bear spray isn't gonna do anything. I'm already dead because I would have dropped dead from a heart attack. So I don't need bear spray. I'll be dead. Yeah. It was really creepy. It's very creepy. Um, okay. So I'm gonna finish this article on Patrick. So this is, I don't know if Drone Grid wants to talk a bit about it, but um, it is a case that's being looked into, and I believe more searches are going to be underway for him. I know the family is desperate for answers, and were out not long ago. They are the ones who put up the missing poster sign, and there was a lot of tape on different trees, different colors for different reasons. Um, which reminds me, I want to go into why um, like the search tape wasn't used in all the searches done for Jack and Lilly. One thing that people need to realize is we're in the 21st century, and everything's digital now. The app that is used for searchers that are boots on the ground searching for Jack and Lilly and other cases is a Caltopo app, and it monitors every single person that is searching via satellite and sends direct location back to Nick at Please Bring Me Home. And then all of those maps of the search areas that everyone has searched is compiled and sent to RCMP. That is the most efficient way for Nick as well as RCMP to have a grasp on ground that is covered. It's not going to be tape tied to a tree. Yeah. And Damien has a really awesome drone that actually sends the flight information to the Caltopo maps, which is then sent to Nick and sent to the RCMP. So, yeah. So for people that were questioning why there was no tape on their search on trees, how extensive was the search? Janice, you were on the search. Cheryl, you were on the search. Odessa, you were on the search. Brad Wong was on the search. I was on the search. I can tell you that the search was extremely extensive and there was an immense amount of ground coverage. And I kind of find it offensive that it can even be suggested that it wasn't a thorough search. Yeah. Tell us about the amount of trash in the woods. I have a picture of the shirt, the pink and blue items that has been the speculation of the online world. The pink and blue items found where the blanket was found. So I'm going to bring up that picture after I finish reading this article because I do want to finish discussing Patrick's case because, again, it's important. Every case is important. I know we've all been very focused on Jack and Lilly because it's new and it's raw and there's a, we want them found. But I do want to give this family the opportunity to have their son's case put out there. And yes, they are in the same place a year later. And you know why that is? Because they're irrelevant. They did not belong to anyone in the family. And when I get into this subject of how many items of clothing and rags are out in that woods, and we'll even touch on, well, maybe Drungard can mention what our team found in the woods. Yeah. All right. Let me finish reading this and we will move on. So one moment, please. You don't want to talk about the shirt? Okay, anyway, I'll bring it up. All right. On Sunday, November 30th, on Sunday, November 30th, 1969, 30 to 40 volunteers and 15 snowmobiles searched the area of Iron Gate Road, which is the picture I just showed you. No trace of Paddy was found. At 1 p.m., a helicopter arrived from Shearwater and conducted an air search for 2 hours. The search continued by snowmobile well until the next morning. Police noted that Bernard told them Paddy had often been in the woods and knew how to use a compass. The search area covered was approximately 12 miles in the Pembroke Road from Upper Stewiacke towards Riverside and 2.5 miles south of Riverdale in the area of Iron Gate Road. One moment, please. Okay, fine. Okay. On Monday, December 1st, 1969, Constable L.J. Lavoie took over the direction of the search from Constable Susie. Search headquarters were set up at the farmhouse of the family friend on Pembroke Road, aided by lands and forest personnel and vehicles, men with snowmobiles, 30 men from CFB Shearwater and a helicopter, 30 volunteers, and a Truro dog master. A search throughout the day failed to find any trace of Paddy. Not even a track was found. It was noted by the police that the general consensus was that he probably crawled under a tree to escape. According to the police report, Redacted responded to the plea and pointed out the exact location where he last saw him. Redacted's description was such that it offered no doubt it was Paddon. Redacted said that he met Paddon and asked him if he had any luck. Paddon replied he saw a few rabbits and shot a porcupine. Redacted said that Paddon mentioned something about Redacted, but in retrospect couldn't associate the name with anything relevant. Redacted Paddon that he was walking towards Riversdale and it was about 4 kilometers away. Then the police report states that most of you reading this right now are probably thinking it is difficult to imagine how the youth became lost when he was on the road leading back to his father's car. It's difficult to imagine how he became lost. Paddy was experienced in the woods. He was not even in the woods at 2:45 p.m., according to his witness. He was on the main road. He had a compass, so it's confusing why he'd be walking north on the road instead of south towards the farmhouse. And this sighting was almost 3 hours after the scheduled meetup time of noon. Furthermore, if this sighting was of Patrick Paddon, this means that in only 15 minutes, even though he was already almost 3 hours late for their meetup, Paddy re-entered the woods for some reason instead of staying on the main road. It also means he became lost or incapacitated in only 15 to 20 minutes. That's shortly after 3 p.m. when his father and uncle started blowing their car horn and shooting off rifle shots. He was unable to respond or follow the noise to the main road. Remember that his father and uncle continued searching and signaling for him for the rest of the afternoon, evening, and night until midnight, and there was no response from Paddy. The police report provides this explanation. One popular suggestion was that he chased a deer into the woods and thus became turned around, leaving open all kinds of theories on his failure to signal the searchers. The area was very densely wooded with numerous woods crossing in all directions. So, as it goes on in the following days, it states how many additional resources were brought in. Um, There was 80 men that searched throughout the day on Tuesday, the December 2nd. The copter searched 30 square miles. Radio station CKCL Truro broadcasted a plea to hunters who have been in the area to phone the office with any pertinent information. On Wednesday, December 3rd, a 10-man pararescue unit from CFB Summerside arrived and joined the search. Maps of the area had been maintained. The search and rescue helicopter from Summerside spent the afternoon searching with negative results, along with a helicopter from Shearwater. So remember, this is 1969, and they had military from Summerside, Shearwater, helicopters. They had loads of people out searching for him. On the Thursday, December 4th, they had approximately 100 men and 2 tracking dogs. The Shearwater and Summerside ground units and a helicopter searched for him, but again, no trace was found. Midway through that afternoon, it was said that there was footprints that were discovered in a small area of snow that was left in the woods. According to several searchers, the prints appeared to be made during the snowfall. On Friday, helicopters, men, dogs were again employed in the search area with no avail. By the end of the day, nothing had been found. Saturday, 80 volunteers plus land and forest personnel turned up to continue the search. By this time, ground had been searched as thorough as could be expected under the difficult terrain conditions. Sunday, 50 men combed the woods. Monday, the search was called off. The total search area was 72.5 square kilometers. Throughout the search, not a single trace of Paddon was found. So, as you can see, it's very difficult to envision that many people out, helicopters, dog teams, searchers. And nothing was found. Not his rifle, not his compass, not his knife, not his clothing, not his flares. You know, if he had injured himself, if he was cold, why did he not set off a flare? Why did he not shoot his rifle? Why did he not start a fire with his wax matches? So, you know, it's again, another unusual case surrounding the 289. Right. Yes. Thank you, Janice. Yeah. Yes, I concur. So I'm gonna probably do a part 2 on Patrick. I want to have Nova come up with me because she has a lot of information on this case and some local knowledge. And I'm hoping that some people will from the area will remember this particular case and might reach out so that we can shed a bit more light on the scenario. So I am going to we're going to take a little break, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to go over the picture of the items found by the blanket and have a little discussion about the accuracy of witness statements. It's okay when you realize who is behind trying to discredit, please bring me home. They do the same about the RCMP and those who do not follow the narratives. It does not affect our organization at all. Yes, I mean, as with anyone involved in this case, many people have had to develop thick skin because the allegations, rumors, speculation being thrown out are disgusting. And there's nothing like a scorned ex-employee to stir the pot. It happens all the time. So um, there was a lot of people, all the people that say the negative things tend to have been not the ones out in the woods searching. Right. That's coming up next. Yeah. People came from Ontario and had to pay their own way. That's right. People came from a lot of places to come and search for Jack and Lilly. And I think it's disgusting that people try to discredit it in any way. Thank you, Deafening Silence, for becoming a new member. Maybe I should show some of your songs. Yes. That is exactly, oh my gosh, tambourine. That is exactly what I said as well. It's like the highway of tears of Pictou County. It's scary. It's scary. Okay. Yes, happy solstice. Let the new beginnings begin. Sorry, Cheryl. Yeah. There's been a few people that have been pretty quiet lately. Yeah. Wonder why. Wonder why indeed. Sorry, my daughter's sending me her Amazon wish list. Play God's Gift. I think I might. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna remove this. Remove this. I'm gonna do a part 2 on Patrick. I'm gonna do a bit more of a deep dive on information on who the witness was that saw him on the road. Get a map of the family friend's farmhouse in comparison to um, where he was last seen, um, and get a little bit of a timeline going. But I wanted to touch on it because I know it's something that's going to be coming down the pipeline with regards to upcoming searches and stuff in the area. So I wanted to touch on it again. Again, I know Nova and I had touched on it before, and I'm hoping she'll come up again to discuss it. I'm going to bring up a drone image that was taken with regards to a recent search. I'm going to let the drone grid talk a bit about it. But first, I am going to play a little intermission. I'm going to have a little pee-pee break and have a cigarette, and I'll be back. So now is your opportunity to do so. You got to go. Night-night, Brian. Have a good sleep. And I'll see you guys. I'll see you soon. But yes, I'm going to take a little intermission here, and I'll be back, and we will talk about some interesting things. So bear with me. You've got 4 minutes. Go pee, go have a smoke, go make a drink, go roll a doobie, whatever it is you do. Alrighty, I'll see you in 4 minutes. Alrighty. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Better smoke real quick. All right. If you don't do any of those things, have a little look at these posters. These are mostly they're missing person and unsolved cases from Nova Scotia and across Canada. And you'll recognize it as my original intro. So 4 minutes, 7 seconds. See you then.
got no faith, 'cause the sky wish it wasn't so cold in this bottom of mine. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side, taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. No one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Thinking about when you went away, it's so hard. I wonder what you'd have to say if you sent us a card. Ooh, sometimes I feel like I'm in a play and I don't know my part. Maybe if we meet again, I can make a start. Still wasn't so cold in this bottom of mine. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side, taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. No one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Think about you every day, where you are.
Well, that was the quickest cigarette I ever had in my life. And people can attest to that. I'm a very slow smoker. Oh, Frank Drone Grid, aka Damien, you should send me a picture of the setup because it's pretty actually impressive. If you want, you don't have to, but it's pretty awesome. I'm just gonna address some like housekeeping issues. And some people out there are expecting an apology from me. It's not going to happen. And anyone out there that wants to believe what's said out there can believe whatever they like. Those who know me and know the situation know the truth, and that's all I care about. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's become so clear to me how much there is solely based on what they're doing to me. So now I know, because of what's been done to me, that's what's being done to Cheryl, Malaya, Cindy, and pretty much anyone involved in this case. It's been very eye-opening for me. to realize how low people will go in the true crime community. And I, for one, am very glad to be away from it and not involved with any of it. And again, I will say I am very strict with my chat. I have blocked a lot of people. I do not allow certain chat and narratives to be pushed in my chat. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for it. I just will not stand for it because I know my truth, and my friends and close confidants know the truth as well. And everyone is free to make their own opinion on things, but there's a lot of stuff that people um a lot of people don't know about what's happened in the background, and a lot of things I don't talk about. Um, there's been many different types of threats that I've received that I don't discuss. So, Shan, I thought you were going to have Daniel on your live. He agreed before you paused. Did he agree? I don't think he agreed. I don't think Daniel has much time for me. I don't blame him, but if he wants to come up on my live and have a discussion with me like I had with Darren, where I actually ask questions and want answers to those questions, so be it. I'd happily do that. But something tells me that won't ever happen. I think it's important for all sides to have a say. But there's also situations that people don't know about. So I'll leave it at that. There's only certain people that will put out his stuff. Ooh, I've got some pictures. Yeah, I honestly doubt it. There is many people out there that don't want to talk to me because I talk to Malaya, and that's fine. Right, let me send up these pictures. Yeah. Explore Core, I did give you a thank you. Thank you so much for your support on the Buy Me a Coffee app. I appreciate that very much, and it did go towards coffee and gas on my last search, so I appreciate it. Absolutely, I was having this discussion. Darius McDougall's family, if you were watching this, avoid social media. Avoid social media. Avoid content creators. I'm telling you that as a word of advice. Not everyone is like me. One moment. And I don't think people really get the concept of how much work goes into just going out to do a drone search, how much planning is involved, equipment, financial investment. It's insane. And it's very easy for people to crap on everyone else when they've literally done nothing. So thank you, Chip. I appreciate it. There are a lot of bullies online. Yes, there is. But like I said, I've learned to have to swim with sharks. It's the way it is. Let me just get these photos up. And I will download this one. And I will download this one. Okay. So, nope, sorry. Image file. Download. So this will give you an idea of, for example, just the amount of equipment needed and purchased to go out and do a drone search. So maybe Drone Grid can explain this, but top right is the controller, and the white box that you see on top, that is a Starlink portable internet, basically. And the battery packs needed alone, charging devices to be able to replace the batteries multiple times because they only last for so long. They can only cover so much territory. And when you go out to an area like that, you actually have to be very prepared. You don't just go out to an area to drone for 20 minutes. It's hours. Yeah. It's not doesn't even include all the gear that you need to protect yourself against the elements. You know, and the gas to get out there, and, you know, the wear and tear on vehicles. While we were out drone searching for other things, we noticed vehicle marks from another search. I would suspect that anyone going out there in a car probably felt it a little more than we did. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Yeah. So this is out in the field, so to speak. Yeah, that poor car, no doubt. No doubt. It's a real shame they couldn't access Jenny Lake, though. Must have been a real pain in the ass for them to go all the way out there and have to turn around due to a downed tree. Maybe they should have brought a chainsaw. Well, funnily enough, Handmaiden of God, some of us are really good at identifying tire treads and determining types of vehicle based on the width of the between the tires, etc. And here's an image of just pre-departure. So when people have something to say about anything, the cost of the equipment alone is substantial. That's out-of-pocket expense. That's coming out of people's own pocket because they care that much that they want to go and spend their spare time, their spare money to go out and look for missing people. And to criticize that doesn't say anything about the person being criticized. It says a lot about the people that have something negative to say. So I'm going to bring up an image of a recent search, and Drone Grid can discuss it a bit in chat because he is the expert. I am the secretary. So One moment. And I'm going to be crucified for the quality, but just know I do not have the software or the pixelation on my computer that does this justice. However, I try. Don't judge me. Don't judge my computer or my pixelation. Right. Drone grids. Would you like to explain the location and area that this particular image covered? And this will give you an indication of what kind of information can be taken from drone imagery and when that's combined. And Damien has a good friend who was able to create some awesome software to help filter out images on a much quicker sequence than what he was able to do before. So there's a lot of skilled individuals that work behind the scenes that nobody even knows about, and that don't look for credit, that don't, that don't even want their names out there. So I just think technology has come such a long way. It is amazing. And some of the images that we've looked through, you know, can pick up astonishing amounts of information. Um, and it just covers so much ground, that is difficult for, humans to cover. And like to get an aerial view of a search area like this is, can you find the truck to show the scale? Um, I'd have to zoom in. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in. 1 second. Oops. Explore core, yeah. One moment. All right. I'm gonna open it and zoom it, see if that helps. And yeah, I think this might be an easier way to show, but it doesn't give the justice of the quality when doing so. But basically, right here, this little black dot, dark dot, that's the truck, I believe. Can you guys see my mouse? To the right and up a bit? Oh, shit. I would be worried if at any point you show the location, it would be easy for him to go back. How would you know? Do you return for more aerial pictures? Yes. And I would say that certain people are being watched like a hawk, and any movement is probably monitored. But some of these locations, a lot of these locations have been returned to more than once. Different seasons, at different times, different, different weather, because sun can affect things too. Hold on. Oh my God. Right. You have better eyes than me. So here, this is where the truck is. Right there. That dot. Yeah. I need to get reading glasses. I'm getting to that age. I'm pretty sure Wolfie's banned from this chat, so don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Here are some other things I want to show. But I mean, that's one image of, yeah, exactly. So that should give you an indication of how much time has been spent out there flying in the skies. Images taken, images scanned. So right. Oops. That's not the image I wanted to show. That was a screenshot I was sent of a live recently. Not my live, someone else's, where they had an entire folder dedicated to me. Wonder why that was. Let's find the picture I meant to show. Here we go. So this is one of the images of the pink and blue item that everyone has been discussing so much recently. So the blue, it's been stated that these items were found free by some witnesses. But according to the documents released from the courts, based on what the RCMP gave to them, Emily and Hayden stated that the items were on the ground, not hanging in the tree, and that they were found in the afternoon of Friday, the May 2nd. The pink shirt appears to be a men's golf shirt. The blue item is a ripped blanket sheet or something. So this image was taken many, 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 many months ago, on a search. In fact, it was there still in November. It's been there since prior to May 2nd and was deemed to be irrelevant to the case on the very first day. When they found the blanket, the RCMP went and had a dog there for scent trail. Nothing led away from the blanket. Images were taken, shown to Malaya. The shirt had no relevance. The blue rag had no relevance, but the blanket belonged to Lilly. So it was determined at that very moment that these items had no significance to the case whatsoever. As they took the blanket and took casts of the boot print, I would imagine that they were very clear that these items were insignificant and irrelevant to the case. So I have another picture of these items that were there after being moved. Yes, exactly, Paris of the Prairie. I would like anyone who was at the searches to put in the chat how many items of clothing are out in those woods. The amount of rags that I personally found and ripped items was in the dozens. It is a logging area. There are logging trucks that go up and down that road. They use rags for the hydraulic parts of the equipment. They're everywhere. Everywhere. It's kind of like a tornado of clothing occurred out there. Not to mention the odd items that were removed from Brad's place, mixed with other things, and moved up the road. So it is not unusual to me that these items are still there. There was items and rags everywhere and trash everywhere, dump sites everywhere. People of that community, no offense, should be ashamed of the fact that they treat our planet like this, like a dumping ground. Some of the interesting things I found were an entire vehicle down a ravine. I think it was like a 1950s vehicle. Tarps, garbage bags, garbage, 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 televisions, old appliances, actually multiple vehicles in various stages of decomposition, coolers, emptied barbecues, deer carcasses, yeah, all kinds of weird items found and clothing. Absolutely. Like, if I were to list all the things that I've found irrelevant to cases while searching, I could fill a logbook. So, the Bermuda Triangle of Nova Scotia. Yeah. Hey, Stella, good to see you. All right, another image file. So here's another image of the blue and pink items that are just obviously the butt of concern for so many people. So this was the more recent picture on the more recent search. As you can see really clearly from this particular image, they're rags. They're rags, ripped clothing, Is anyone familiar with Princess Auto? Anyone in the automobile community know about buying bags of rags? It's a thing. It is a thing. I bet you Brad Wong could tell you as well. People buy rags, reuse clothing all the time for oil changes, for removing car parts, for putting car parts on. You name it, they use rags for it. Why was there one footprint and not two? Yeah. Yeah. And why is there so much speculation around this boot print? I personally, my opinion of the boot print is very much the same as the blanket. Yes, I agree. Yes. Much cheaper to make your own rags. Absolutely. But this is just a tip of the iceberg of the amount of items. The reusable bags, like plastic. The amount of insignificant things that were out there. Astounding. So when you hear multiple people going on and on and on about Alvin being on the side of the road and who was with him, the story has changed multiple times. The truth doesn't change, in my opinion. The truth doesn't change. So I'm just going to, as a reminder, bring this up. This was the official statement given by Emily, whose last name is not Oakley, by the way, that everyone wants to call her that. But Cheryl and I know what her real last name is, and that ain't it. Seems as though people can't seem to get people's names right anywhere. Yeah. So this clearly states something completely different than what other witness statements are given. And if you remember my discussion with Darren, you will know that the story that Alvin told Darren was very different from the story that was told to have come from Alvin. Zero mention by Alvin that he stopped on the side of the road that morning to talk to anyone about anything. In fact, he doesn't recall seeing any vehicles there until the afternoon, and it was Cindy Ward whom he saw sitting at the side of the road. So make of that what you will, but witness testimony can be inaccurate. It needs to be corroborated by multiple sources, and RCMP do not rely on memory alone, and they especially do not rely on memory as a fact. Everything that they are told, they will want to have corroborated. So remember, Alvin said he was going down the road and he saw two RCMP officers flying down the road. He thought they were chasing this pickup truck with plywood hanging out the back. But instead, they turned into his sister's place. And he thought, WTF is going on? So he drove up to his brother Ron's house, said, what's going on, brother? Brother says, the kids are missing. And they get in their vehicle, drive down Lansdowne Road, turn left onto Gairloch Road, and go to Janie's, park on the road, and I believe Officer McCann was already there with another officer. Zero mention of stopping on the side of the road. And they pulled into the driveway, next to the driveway, just after 10:30 a.m. So I mean, I really want to bring up all the information that I was given and go over all the emails and pick out all the discrepancies and inconsistencies and how everything has changed over time. But it's just actually not even worth it for me because I put it on the shelf with other information. It doesn't deserve any credit or any discussion because I struggle to believe in its accuracy. And if it was accurate and the RCMP took it as accurate, reliable witness testimony, there is no way in hell that they would want that out, published on YouTube through various creators to be picked apart on the stand. Any valid information that is significant to what could have happened to Jack and Lilly really shouldn't be discussed on a social media platform, period. That distract and jeopardizing the case. Why would you want to have that information out there so that the Crown could pick it apart before they were even on the stand? I'm just a mom who likes true crime, who has a tendency to hyperanalyze things, hyperfocus, and read a little too much into things. If I, little old me, low IQ, donkey, teabag, nay girl, can figure out that there's something not quite right, something tells me the Crown definitely know what's what. And something tells me the RCMP know a whole lot more than me. That's just my opinion and speculation only, of course. So I am not going to address it, and I'm not going to apologize for anything. So, well, that is the thing. One of the things, and I really try to be careful with this. I've had this discussion with some people. I do have different beliefs than other people. I'm not always a positive thinker. I tend to think worst case scenario. And I have thought worst case scenario with regards to Jack and Lilly. And it's difficult, and it is part of a coping mechanism for myself. I always prepare for the worst, and if anything better comes out of it, then that's great, but I tend to expect the worst in situations. And I try not to project that on the family or anyone really. Um, so it's difficult for me to even have this discussion because I don't want Malaya to even hear it. But there's only one reason why people want to muddy the water and point the finger everywhere other than Occam's razor. And to me, that's because the only way that justice won't be served in court as a no-body trial is if there is a seed of doubt that the children are alive. So you ask yourself, who does it benefit to consistently apply that the children are alive when the RCMP have said there's a very slim chance? You know, multiple times they have said that. Slim doesn't mean none. Slim doesn't mean they're not. But I struggle knowing that there's been no fact-based sightings of the children. And no evidence, no video footage, no camera footage released saying, we believe this is Jack and Lilly in this particular area. Please be on the lookout. And nothing, just nothing. And I struggle to believe that the RCMP would have invested 13 months, millions of dollars, an unimaginable amount of resources and time and effort and emotional distress to their RCMP and to everyone else involved if they thought that the children were being looked after by First Nations people anywhere. And to try to turn it political as well is just another way of doing damage to the reputation of the RCMP as well as the First Nations people, in my opinion. What better way to distract from what really happened to two missing children than to create a race war? Or, I should say, exacerbate what's already there. What are your thoughts? Right, let me see what else I have in my bag of tricks. Well, this is one picture that I came across. Blue eye. I'm not sure what you're going on about, but not here, not now, not ever. Consider that a warning, but we're not going to discuss European politics or cocaine. Thank you. This was on my walk. I heard some noises in the woods. Okay. This is the kind of thing that I deal with. How much did they pay me? And just like that, ban user and delete. I wish I was being paid. Lord, do I wish I was being paid, because then my credit card wouldn't be taking such a beating. Gas prices, you know? So yes, while I was out in the area of where Kevin Martin was found, um, like I said, I'm a bit of a chicken, so like even noises in the woods, I'm like, I'm gonna turn around now. So this was one of the images I came across, and I was like, and it was as big as my hand. So I was like, what the heck is that? Um, just an indication of what kind of things are in the woods, and I want to go back to this picture, because this is what it's about, and this is what people forget. This is why I have a channel. This is why I find it difficult when other people preach that it's about Jack and Lilly, yet encourage entire channels to be devoted to anything but Jack and Lilly. YouTube and Facebook are like toxic wasteland. And although I encourage everyone to make up their own mind and decisions, I encourage you to be very careful about the content you consume and becoming engulfed in an echo chamber of misinformation. I'm going to play a video that I created for Malaya, and I posted as a short. I did it twice so it would sink in. And I don't normally say like and share, but it is on my YouTube shorts. And if you guys want it, go and take it. You don't need to like and share it, just download it and keep it. It baffles me how we've gotten to this point of just interfighting and disgusting behavior, and you know, it's sad when there's 2 children missing and it's gotten to this point, and how many lives have been destroyed over it, how many people's have been personally attacked that have literally nothing to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lilly. Anyone who seems to want to get involved and help and actually be productive and contribute seems to be torn down. And that tells me all I need to know. Because again, it's a reflection on them and not the people they're tearing down. Thank you, Damien. I try to do all those things, and it is very difficult to do sometimes under the circumstances, as I'm sure you are aware. And, 007 Star Child, when I go out there, I go out for all the people that want to be there but can't. And I carry you all with me when I go, because I know that most people, 95% of the people out there, have very good intentions and want this case to be solved and don't act in a malicious, vindictive way. It's really only, I was having this conversation with Damien and Cheryl and another private confidant of mine, that although it looks like the whole orchard is rotten, it's one barrel of rotten apples in a beautiful orchard of fresh, crisp, snow white apples. So you just have to realize who the bad apples are and look for the beautiful orchards full of non-bruised apples. And I will 007 Star Child. I've spent a lot of time at the burial ground recently. Not everyone is spiritual or believes in these things, but it's somewhere that gives me a lot of peace. So I don't have anywhere to grieve for my loved ones that have passed. So I go to Snow White's apple was poison, yeah. But in the words of Nirvana, try without the poison apple. Yeah. This case can be very draining. Pun intended. Yeah. That's right. So yeah, I think I'm going to finish on that note. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to be online as much, but like I said, I was taking a step back. I do have priorities. Everybody has stuff that they're doing have stuff going on in their own private life. And as much as I try to keep it personal, some stuff gets out there. But again, it's not that because things aren't going on behind the scenes, because they are. I just don't need to do a live and talk about it. And yeah, priorities, right? And but I am feeling like it at a point where I will just have to keep coming on here to try to keep a positive spin on things, because it's just someone has to advocate for Malaya and her family, and nobody's willing to do that. And I am team Jack and Lilly first, always have been, always have said that. That's the reason I started the channel, is for Jack and Lilly. But there's nothing wrong with me advocating, supporting, believing, and trying to help a mother of two missing children. And I can't help how I feel, and I can't help my feelings, and that's just the way it is. So I love you all, and I honestly do believe that I have the best chat out there, because you're all just really great people with great hearts that have really pure intentions, and it shows with your presence. So, and I do appreciate everyone who advocates and sticks up for me when no one's looking. Someone's always looking. So I appreciate you all. Oh God. I'm not even going to address that drama. But those of you who are in my circle, which is extremely tight, I appreciate and love you all very much. And without you, I couldn't continue doing this. So you know who you are, and thank you. I'll see y'all soon.
Tea time on true crime. Mugs up, pull that seat right out. You need to tune in, lean in close. We're about to sort this out. So much ish to puzzle through. Whispers, rumors, tangled doubt. Come with me, we'll walk it back till every truth steps out. Crimes and lies and alibis. Spill the story, sip that hit. Come have tea with me tonight. We'll find the cracks in every print. Crimes and lies and alibis. Pour it slow, let's chase that sin. Come have tea with me, alright. You get a hint, you get a hint, oh yeah. You get a hint. Scribbled on a napkin, name circling like steam, motive hiding in the margins, right between the scenes. Every side has got a secret, every secret leaves a trace. Stay a while, we'll piece it together, case by case by case. Crimes and lies and alibis. Spill the story, sip that hit. Come have tea with me tonight. We'll find the cracks in every print. Crimes and lies and alibis. Pour slow, let's chase that scent. Come have tea with me, alright. You get a hint, you get a hint.